Hola a todos, bienvenidos a otro video de mí. Soy Bookless Pete. Soy Pete's in Libros. And I had a little bit of a question to ask tonight. This is really oddly yellowish light, but what are you going to do? I'm trying a different sound setup based on my limited amount of equipment here. Hopefully, sound will get better in a few months. I happened to watch a few of my videos online again and was shocked at how bad the sound quality is. So I apologize for that. I know people don't care that much, but the question I've been thinking about is the phenomenon, excuse me, yeah, a coughing fit. The concept that's fairly new to me, but as soon as I heard of it, makes a lot of sense, and that is decision fatigue. Something that comes up more when often sometimes when people suddenly find that they have more time on their hands like I do. A lot of us work very hard for many years, often for other people, and a lot of our decisions throughout the day are made for us based on what we have to do. But when you get more free time, I mean, this is true of anyone, but it's more true when you get more free time. It's a phenomenon sets in called decision fatigue, which means getting overwhelmed by the amount of decisions, the amount of freedom you have. And I'm curious if people have this problem related to reading. I've experienced it a lot lately because there are a lot of things I could do for the next step on my travel adventures, my lifestyle adventures, which aren't really relevant to this channel, but they do play. Everything bleeds into everything. So, um, having a lot. I think I mentioned a couple of videos. I was procrastinating, doing a lot of videos to procrastinate and avoid certain life decisions I need to make. And lately, I've been catching up on those, which feels really good. I think I've made a decision going forward, at least for the next year or two. That's calmed me down a lot. It can be very stressful to not know what to do when you have often a lot of choices. So I'll just throw it out to the group. Have you ever had a decision fatigue related to uh, content for your BookTube channel or as a reader? When there's so many books, so much content available to us in the world today. I know every time I watch a video by someone I really like. For example, I just watched one, a person going over all the Greek historians they want to read, and I made a list of, yeah, I definitely want to read all those Greek historians that Michael K. Vaughan wants to read next year. And it just goes on and on. Everyone whose work I admire, I want to read the books that they love as well as the books that I've chosen on my own. And I'm curious how you handle that. We live in a very unique time in history, at least as far as what I've lived through. When I was young, when I was really young, there was three channels. I lived in a small town that had, I think, two bookstores. Did not even have a used bookstore. I guess there was one used bookstore downtown that didn't have very much, but and we had a library that had two branches, and those were the books I had to choose from. And a lot of stuff was available, stuff wasn't. You could order stuff from a bookstore. I ordered the Sphere British versions of the Conan, the Elsbreg de Camp Conan pastiches. I remember waiting for them weeks to come in because the Lancers were out of print at that time, but Sphere in the UK had them. So it was pretty easy. You just picked out the things you most wanted, or you went to the store and saw what little amount they had, or you chose from the three channels. If you were in a bigger city, you might have a couple independent stations. But now we have everything, virtually everything. When I go on to Amazon and I see how many science fiction novels I could read from the 60s and 70s that are $1.99 each. Classics of the genre. It's great that all this stuff is available, but where do you start and how do you go and how far do you go before you read something else? Should I read, I was pretty heavily reading Bob Shaw, and I got distracted. He's a science fiction writer, and I got distracted into reading Robert Silverberg. I got distracted again into reading Poul Anderson. I'm going to stick with Poul Anderson for a while, but there's just so much, and it is really an embarrassment of riches. Then you have people bringing up events. I do let the events guide a lot of my reading, especially in the summer. I think that's one good way to handle it. Like, for example, horror mayhem. Okay, I'm going to pick out a bunch of horror that I want to read and focus on that. For May, for example, I've got a personal challenge going up where I'm going to read one Robert Howard a Del Rey collection every month for 9 months, and a couple other things that go in with Howard. Then I'm going to read his two most recent biographies at the end of that period, if I'm still into Howard. And there's so many lists I have going back. I've kept track of my reading since 2011. I might do some videos talking about what I read year by year, because Mark did that at Book Time with Elvis. He did a great video of everything he read during the pandemic year. I think he was inspired by a video by Michael K. Vaughan. So I'm thinking about doing something like that to kind of go over what I read in the past. It's not relevant to this video. I don't know why I'm discussing it. It's just stuff that's in my mind. I'm thinking so many ways I could take the channel, so many different things I could focus on, or I could just vibe it, I guess, and just keep reading what strikes me at the moment. But there is so much out there, you know. What do you guys think? I'm really genuinely curious whether you've got a channel or not. How do you choose your reading? With so much to choose from, with so much available, I know many people focus on the Kindle freebies and they just read freebies all the time. Other people focus on what's available at their library. I do a lot of that. I also do a lot of going back to authors I've read in the past that I haven't read all their books. It gets overwhelming though. I guess it's a good problem to have as opposed to just a few books. But, besides decision fatigue, decision fatigue can lead to paralysis. I just don't, there's just too many decisions to make. I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to read anything. Or, if you have any ideas for habits to overcome that, or maybe this doesn't come into your reading at all. Maybe this is just something that I think about that isn't a problem for most people. I don't think that's the case, but I would love to hear it if I did. Do you find any part of being a reader and a person who loves books? Of course, we all have the problem at all times of never being able to read everything we want to read, unless you're Steve Donahue and you can read. And you don't need sleep, and you can read many books a day. But even him, I'm sure, would like to read more that he can. And, I certainly don't read as much in the day as I could. I don't squeeze in every moment of the day with reading, but often when I finish a book or two, I'll keep a couple running at a time. A novel, I like to read novels fairly quickly, whereas I'll put like a collection of essays or short stories in the back burner, so I've always got one going. Excuse me for this wheezing and stuff. This is really something I got to take care of. So decision fatigue, those are my thoughts about it. That is my essay about it, an essay in the sense of I threw some ideas out there, but I didn't really come to any conclusion or any or completely cover the subject in any way. But I am truly curious to hear what people think, and if it's ever even a problem with your reading that you care about it all, or that you think about, or if you just go through life enjoying everything, taking it as it comes, which would be ideal. Okay, that's it for now.